so good to see you. This past Sunday, we read scripture in our Spark Story Bible, but I also mentioned to you that our Big Kid Bible with all of the words and like a grown-up Bible have different words. So we're going to talk about both of those after you get back from singing a song with Mr. Bruce. Take it away, Mr. Bruce.
Hi friends, I've got a new song for you. It comes out of the hymnal. It's hymn 673, God Whose Almighty Word. I'm going to teach it to you. It's the first verse. I feel like the text is really important for right now, and especially the last four words, let there be light. Here's the first part. Listen. God whose almighty word. Sing it. God whose almighty word. Chaos and darkness heard. Listen. Chaos and darkness heard. Sing it. Chaos and darkness heard and took their flight. And took their flight. Sing it. And took their flight. Let's do all that together. God whose almighty word, chaos and darkness heard, and took their flight. One, ready, sing. God whose almighty word, chaos and darkness heard, and took their flight. Here's the next part. Hear us, we humbly pray. Sing it or listen to it. Hear us, we humbly pray. Same tune again. And where the gospel day. And where the gospel day sheds not its glorious ray. Sheds not its glorious ray. Let there be light. Let there be light. Let's try all of that. Hear us, we humbly pray. And where the gospel day sheds not its glorious ray, let there be light. Here it is. Ready? Go. Hear us, we humbly pray. And where the gospel day sheds not its glorious ray, let there be light. Let's do the whole thing through. I'm going to sing it and play it with you. Beginning, ready, go. God whose almighty word, chaos and darkness heard, and took their flight. Hear us, we humbly pray, and where the gospel day sheds not its glorious ray, let there be light. We're going to sing it twice through with all the parts being played. God whose almighty word. Sing with me twice through. One, ready, go. God whose almighty word, chaos and darkness heard, and took their flight. Hear us, we humbly pray, and where the gospel day sheds not its glorious ray, let there be light. Again, God whose almighty word, chaos and darkness heard, and took their flight. Hear us, we humbly pray, and where the gospel day sheds not its glorious ray, let there be light.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bruce. Guys, I am so glad that you are back here with us so that we can make some connections. I'm really hoping that that noise sticks and you can connect that sound to connections. All right, so we are reading out of the book of Matthew, chapter 21, verses, 33 through 46. The lesson in our Spark Story Bible was on page 302. It was called The Parable of the Vineyards, and it talked about this vineyard. Now, a vineyard is just a farm for grapes, and the vineyard owner hired some tenants. Tenants are people that work the farm, and they live on the farm and they work on the farm and they get paid to do that. But the owner sent his servants, which are people who work for him, to get the crop, which is grapes. And when they went, the tenants didn't get them anything. And this happened a few times, and then the farmer sent his own son, and again, nothing. So the Pharisees realize when Jesus is telling them this parable that they are the mean ones. They are the tenant farmers who are they're not being gracious and giving, and they realize that they aren't listening to Jesus and following Jesus. So this story in our children's Bible, the parable of the vineyard, I didn't kind of get it when I read the book that we're reading today. So I went hunting in our grown-up Bible, our big kid Bible, to see if I could get some more information about why we are reading about rocks when we read a story about grapes and people not listening. How does that even make sense? I don't know. How does that make sense? So I went reading, and in our big kid Bible, there's a lot more words. And the words are like big words, so it's kind of hard to understand sometimes. And it's also not called the same thing. It's called the parable of the wicked tenant. We know that the tenant didn't give the servants and the son the grapes, but we didn't realize he was wicked. Over in this Bible, he hurts them, and he even kills some of them, which is, I'm glad they didn't put that in our Bible, because that's really bad. But we know that's why he was wicked. So Jesus says to the Pharisees, after they're just like, hey, it's not a big deal. Just get a different person. You just get a different tenant farmer. It's not a big deal. And Jesus says to them, have you never read the scriptures? The stone that the builders rejected has become the cornerstone. This was the Lord's doing, and it is amazing in our eyes. So what does that mean? So the one that is rejected becomes the cornerstone. Well, we got to start out with, what's a cornerstone? The cornerstone is the cornerstone in the foundation of a home. And you have to have strong cornerstones to support the walls of the foundation. So the cornerstone is Jesus. And they were rejecting Jesus and the corner of him. They were rejecting him and thinking he wasn't strong and he wasn't the king of all kings. And they weren't listening to him. Now, we're going to read our story. Everybody needs a rock, and I want you to think about what kind of rock you need. Everybody Needs a Rock by Bird Baylor. Now, the pictures in this story are kind of hard to see because they're very light, so I will show it to you in a second. Everybody needs a rock. I'm sorry for kids who don't have a rock for a friend. I'm sorry for kids who only have tricycles, bicycles, horses, elephants, goldfish, 3-room playhouses, fire engines, wind-up dragons, and things like that. If they don't have a rock for a friend. Oh, I'm going to show you. What does this rock look like? Do you know that animal? It's an elephant. I almost said, do you know that elephant? I don't know. What's his name? That's why I'm giving them my own rules. My own 10 rules for finding a rock. Not just any rock. I mean a special rock that you find yourself and keep as long as you can. Maybe forever. If somebody says, what's so special about that rock? Don't even tell them. I don't. Nobody is supposed to know what's special about another person's rock. Here are the rules. Now, I want to stop right there and say, we're going to come back to this page. Okay? Rule number 1. If you can go to a mountain made of nothing but 100 million shiny, beautiful, roundish rocks, But if you can't, any place will do, even an alley, even a sandy road. Skip rule number 2. Rule number 2. When you are looking at rocks, don't let mothers or fathers or sisters or brothers or even best friends talk to you. You choose a rock when everything is quiet, and don't let the dogs bark at you or bees buzz at you. Rule number 3, bend over more, even more. You have to sit on the ground with your head almost touching the earth. You have to look a rock right in the eye. Otherwise, don't blame me if you can't find a good one. Rule number 4, don't get a rock that is too big. You'll always have to be sorry. It won't fit in your hand right, and it won't fit in your pocket. A rock as big as an apple is too big. A rock as big as a horse is much too big. Rule number 5. Don't choose a rock that is too small. It will only be easy to lose, or a mouse might eat it thinking that it is a seed. Believe me, that happened to a boy in the state of Arizona. I hope that mouse was okay. Rule number 6. The size must be perfect. It has to feel easy in your hand when you close your fingers over it. It has to feel jumpy in your pocket when you run. Some people touch a rock 1,000 times a day. There aren't many things that feel as good as a rock if it's perfect. Rule number 7. Look for the perfect color. That color could be a sort of pinkish gray with bits of silver shine in it. Some rocks that look brown are really other colors, but you only see them when you squint and when it's in the sun. Another way to see colors is to dip your rock in the clear mountain stream if one is passing by. Rule number 8. The shape of the rock is up to you. There's a girl in Alaska who only likes flat rocks. Don't ask me why. I like them lumpy. The thing to remember about shapes is this. Any rock looks good with 100 other rocks around it on a hill. But if your rock is going to be special, it should look good by itself in the bathtub. Rule number 9, always sniff a rock. Rocks have their own smells. Some kids can tell by sniffing whether a rock came from the middle of the earth or from the ocean or from a mountain where the wind and sun touched it every day for 1,000,000 years. You'll find that grown-ups can't tell these things. Too bad for them. They just can't smell as well as kids. Pages are hard to turn. Rule number 10, don't ask anybody to help you choose. I've seen a lizard pick one rock out of a full desert of rocks and go sit there alone. I've seen a snail pass up 20 rocks and spend all day getting to one that it wanted. You have to make up your own mind. You'll know. All right, that's 10 rules. If you think of any more, write them down yourself. I'm going to go play a game that takes just me and one rock to play. I happen to have a rock here in my hand. Isn't that a good story? All right, so I found it. It's the page that says, what's so special about your rock? And then it says, don't tell them. Think about your rock, your cornerstone. What is so special about Jesus? Jesus is our rock. we can build our lives and our faith on his firm foundation. He is the perfect rock. We don't have to search for it. We also can remember that God sent Jesus to be our rock, the rock that we build our lives upon. Wasn't that cool? So if somebody asks you about your cornerstone rock, what are you going to tell them? You tell them everything. You can tell them that he is the greatest, that his love is forever, that he gives grace upon grace no matter what, and that you love him and he loves you. I love you, and I hope you have a great day. I look forward to hearing about your special rock, and I can't wait to see you guys. Bye.